Lawwin Media Network.
bringing to you the most relevant content across all platforms.
Business, legal, politics, health, lifestyle, and entertainment.
Your source for all the news and updates in the greater Houston community from Texas and all over the world.
Get informed and empowered with Lawwin Media Network.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to our podcast, Beyond Health and Wellness Empowering Conversations with Dr. Rich. I'm your host for today. It is season 2, and we're launching this season today for the first time. This is episode 1. We welcome our guests and we welcome our viewers and our followers all over the world. We have a lot of followers in the Philippines, from Manila all the way to Mindanao, in Texas, particularly in Houston, in the East Coast and in the West Coast. We even have followers in Dubai, in Qatar, Oman, and down here in Singapore. So we welcome you all. Happy New Year and advance Happy Chinese New Year to everyone who are watching us and are celebrating the Chinese New Year. I'm thrilled to embark on another season filled with transformative insights, inspiring stories, and actionable tips to empower our journey toward health, wellness, and now prosperity. So the last season we tackled foundational topics on sugar, feel-good hormones like dopamine, serotonin, oxytocin, and endorphins. Then we talked about cooking oils and the pros and cons and the advantages and disadvantages of cooking oils as far as our health is concerned. We even embarked into talking about the ratio between omega-3 and omega-6 because they are inflammatories and anti-inflammatories. We also talk about smoking points of oils and their risk on cancers in food preparation and the availability of phytonutrients on the natural food or plant-based food, including the power of the mind to create change in our life, in our health, and an overall personal development for everyone. So now this season we're talking about a lot of things that incorporates all of those from season 2 into how we can lead a prosperous and successful life in this season. We're taking this up a little bit. We're not just talking about wellness this time, but we're really driving into how health can fuel success, can fuel prosperity, and can fuel expansive worldviews. As you can see, times are changing politically, socially, economically, and even environmentally. We're going to learn all of that as we go. It's a learn as we go kind of podcast, and I want you to join me in this journey. Before we dive into some of the exciting moments and topics that we're going to, I'd like to introduce to you a very special guest for this episode today who will help launch us into our season. You heard her magic in the background as our podcast DJ, and today she's stepping into the spotlight. I'm talking about Krisha May De Vera. Krisha, come in.
Hi, Dr. Rich. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you.
All right. So, first and foremost, Dr. Rich, thank you for inviting me on the screen. It's really surreal to be here in the hot seat, but you know, you know me, I've always loved being behind the scenes, but this is an amazing opportunity for me to connect directly to our viewers
Yes.
or to our audience and reflect on the journey that we've taken together, especially during season 1.
Yes, thank you, Krisha, for being here and for joining me in launching this first episode of our season two. And so, you've been an integral part of making this podcast come to life. And people don't know you, and it's time that they know you, right? They match the face and the things that's going on around the podcast. And sometimes we have technological glitches and all kinds of things that you're fixing without announcing to people. And it's just only fitting for us in season two, because in season two we're really talking about beyond health with emphasis on beyond. We can take care of our health as individuals, but what's beyond it? That's what we want to know and discover. So we're bringing you front and center this time, Krish. Now, before we dive into leveling up in our podcast on the topics that we talk about, could you please share a bit about what's been like behind the scenes, and what did you think or feel about the discussions that you've been hearing about our podcast every episodes that we did? Tell us about it.
Of course. Now, working on the podcast has been transformative for me personally. So, topics like sugar, just like what you mentioned from the previous season, also the omega 3s, also made me rethink about my pantry or my food intake. And the episodes on the carcinogens, and correct me about my pronunciation, about phytonutrients,
Yes.
those completely change how I approach cooking, especially during the holidays. But what struck me most was a conversation on the mind's power to change, um, uh, about the mind's power to change everything,
Yeah.
or it can also direct everywhere you want to. So that really made me start setting healthier goals, and it's one of the reasons why I feel ready to step out and share today, especially to our audience who are experiencing the same thing.
That's good. That's good. That's amazing, Krisha, and thank you for sharing. So I know that a lot of people, we have a lot of followers that they're talking, they are giving us feedback about what they thought about all those topics. Include when we started with feel good hormones, and a lot of people don't know that they exist, and how are we going to use it to our greatest advantage. And then we move from there, from point to point, into talking about things that matters to them, not just from the kitchen, right, but from their entire whole being. So it's a holistic approach for us, and it ties perfectly to this thing. Before we move on to that, we are going to enumerate first what we actually did, because some of our viewers are first time viewers, or they probably have already forgotten the first episode that we did. We really talked about feel good hormones. Now, these hormones are built in, they are available in our body. Our bodies produce them. You don't have to go to the grocery store or to the pharmacy to find them. But there are hospital grade hormones of the same type that is going to be infused or injected to patients, especially when they are sick or are not in the best healthy condition we expect them to be. But however, every single one of us produces them. It's only when your body is not able to produce them, or you are not able to stimulate your body to produce them. But there is a way, and it's really very natural since our body produces them. And there are four that I've identified. I call them the angel's cocktail. The angel's cocktail starts with the dopamine, right? Dopamine is where we feel really good. That is when we have the reward. So it's a reward hormone. When you get rewarded, you feel good. All right. And so how do you get rewarded? You get the appreciation when you say, "Oh, good morning today. You look so good today. You look beautiful." You are producing, when you hear that, you feel good, you are producing the dopamine hormone in your body. And the person that's saying that also produces the feel good hormone. Let's say you help somebody in the street, you give some money. When you give that money, you feel good, right? You feel good that you were able to give money. You are producing the feel good hormone, and the money that was being received, or the person that received the money, also feels good. So both of them are benefited by the hormone we call the dopamine. right? So that's how we manipulate it. When we want to increase the level of dopamine in our body, just do something good, recognize people, appreciate them, and admire them, and you will have them. The other one I was going to talk about, the dopamine level increase that we have that we can do, is when we communicate with people, right? We communicate a lot, we talk and we share things, especially in our profession. When we do that, we actually share. Now, this is a kind of like a secret, right, that doctors use. When you see a patient, so the patients come because they have chief complaints. That's what we're looking for. What is the chief complaints? And there are other variety of other complaints that's related to the chief complaint. And what you do as a doctor, they're already sick, they feel something bad, so you want to tell them something good. But the way you do that is you ask them questions. When you ask them questions, it suspends their sense of anticipation. When they anticipate, the dopamine builds up. All right. So the dopamine is built up or increased as the sense of anticipation increases. So you tell them story, ask them questions, and they start building their dopamine. For all you know, that's all they need, and they just go out feeling good. Did you not see that one?
I think I failed to see that one. But it's nice to know that I'm learning now.
Yes, so that's a really good thing. And of course, there are other hormones that we can use, right? One of that is your dopamine, and the other is oxytocin. If you remember your doctor, when you see your doctor will either let you sit down on a chair, or they are going to shake hands with you. When they shake hands with you, that's what's going on. When they shake hands with you, they will see that is oxytocin, right? And oxytocin is the human nature in us. We feel good when we belong with somebody. We have a good friend. We give a hug. We pet our dog, our cat. Those are the releases of oxytocin. And the serotonin is, you just go outside, see the sunshine, see the rain. Go outside, be under the trees. Those are serotonin. And the other one is endorphins. Endorphins is when people, you and I, we start laughing, we start smiling, and we start making jokes that triggers a laughter. That is endorphin. So it's very easy to utilize these hormones in our body so that we will feel good. Now we're talking, okay, I feel good. So what does that mean? What does it do to me when I feel good? Now, everyone needs to remember that when we feel good, it is the hormone that is being released, no matter it is an oxytocin, dopamine, serotonin, or endorphins, they are very addictive. They are more addictive than your narcotics. Okay? So when you are admiring somebody, they will long for that. That's why in our school today, uh, our teachers are trained to say, everybody get a medal, everybody wins, everybody gets a trophy, you're so good, good job, good job. Even if it's not good job, you tell them good job because you want them. But when you tell them that, they will long for that, they will look for that. And that is why in our day and age, our next generation, they'll be looking for your admiration and appreciation and recognition at the push of a button. You don't go to them when you want to. They come to you and they want that appreciation. It's very addictive, and we don't know. I'm not a drug addict. Yeah, but you're still addicted. It's not necessarily a drug, but it's still a hormone that makes you long for it and want it every single day. That's what it is.
I actually shared this live show to one of my friends, and he just messaged me and said, "That's why I'm addicted to red flags."
Why? It's
uh,
what's
because, because of the serotonin and the dopamine.
Yes. So it's like that, but we're not aware. That's why at the later part of our episodes in our season one, we talk about why is this going on and how are we going to control it no matter what. But really what it is then it worsens. Okay, I'm addicted to that. Well, fine, probably because it's just natural for me. But here is natural, but it's not, it's very subtle and it's sugar. So we're addicted to sugar, and we're not addicted to sugar out of, well, I tried it and it worked for me. It was when we were born, it's already there. It's everywhere. So sugar is very, very addictive, and that is dopamine, right? Because you feel good, right? When I go to work and my staff, I meet my staff and all of that, I bring chocolates, right? And I train our leaders to bring chocolates, some donuts, something, so that they will feel good. They will feel good at the beginning. And we heard this a statement that says the way to a man's heart is through the stomach, right? I feel good. So I do that, but really it shouldn't be. It shouldn't be because you're making you're like what do you call that? You're patronizing it, and it shouldn't be because sugar is really very addictive. And you know that we had different segments in different episodes that we talk about sugar endlessly, like it's at top of the line kind of discussion, which is really important for me because sugar is. When you look at your ingredients right now in your kitchen, there's a lot of sugar, and our body can only tolerate up to 50 grams of sugar. 25 is normal, but you can tolerate up to 50, right? Some of our bodies are stronger, and some of our bodies are able to utilize it or metabolize it. So 50. But you look at your soda, a can of soda. How many sugar do you have?
I think you mentioned like 40 grams.
117. 117
Even the
grams of
even the zero, the
Coke.
Coke
Now
Zero.
let's talk about Coke Zero. Now we're at Coke Zero and other sodas. Soda, for one bottle of soda, has 117 grams of sugar. We can only tolerate up to 50. The normal is 25, right? Well, 25 means in the entire day you have 6 tablespoons of sugar. That's 25 grams. But then when you have 12 tablespoons of sugars, that's 50 grams. That's too much already, right? You know, your body can tolerate. And then we have 117 for just one soda. For Coke Zero, there is no sugar, you said, right? What it has is the sugar substitute. So there is no sugar, which means that you don't get any calorie from sugar. But what you have is a sugar substitute that's making it sweet, which makes you crave for sugar. The sugar substitute craves you more, makes you crave for more sugar because your brain is eating something that doesn't have sugar in it but tastes sweet. You look for sugar, then you will look for the cake, you will look for the dessert, you will look for everything sugar because you'll be craving because it's just a substitute. You're faking it, right? So that's what really it is, and we're not talking about that in a commercial.
I feel really guilty, Dr. H, because during the holidays, there's a
Mhm.
lot of food, there's a lot of soda. So, I forgot about my diet and everything, but I'm back on track.
Yeah.
I'm,
Yeah, no, me too. I mean, I think that it's everyone's struggle every day. It's a lifetime battle for us. The only difference is that we are aware. And some people are not aware and they tolerate, they don't even know they're already tolerating it. But awareness is the first thing that we need to have. And when we're aware, we know, well, I messed up. So let me get back in. All right. Like me, for example. But really, what it is, if you avoid sugar for like just 6 days alone, no sugar at all for just 6 days. So that's about a week. You will notice a huge or significant change or improvement in your body from your skin to your energy to the way you look at things. It will change you and your weight. Probably about average of 6 pounds of weight loss without sugar. We really don't need that much sugar. The sugar will. The reason for that is the, our body is sugar, right? Most of the food that we take in, our body will turn it into sugar. Okay, so we'll say, "Oh, this is potato." Well, that's carb that will be turned into sugar. Oh, this is cake. Every single one of them, except for protein, which could still be turned into sugar. But we're talking about the simple sugar. But then your body can only need as much sugar, right, for the day. So the excess sugar that is in there, it will not be removed. It will not be okay metabolized and then just released. It's not. It's going to be stored in because it will be used. So it will be stored in as fats, right? And when you don't have sugar anymore, your body will start using that stored fats. And that is why when you don't have the sugar, the body will utilize the fats that it stored before. But if you keep getting sugar, then it will not use the, the sugar that was stored there. It will use the sugar that you ingest, and that's good for the whole day. Until if it's not, and then there's enough stored sugar in the form of fats, then your insulin will your body will release insulin to get the sugar into your body, to absorb it into the cells. And in excess of that, we don't know where it's going, right? It's just staying there. So your body is really working double time to release more insulin until it cannot anymore. That's when your pancreas will damage itself, so that your body cannot. Then you are already sugar intolerant. Then you have to have insulin. That's why diabetes, you will have insulin injection, because your body cannot uh, catch up with releasing insulin to catch up absorbing the sugar that you have in your body. That's really what you call as the autoimmune disease. It's fighting against itself, right? That's what's happening there. Do you have any friends that's talking about that too?
At the moment, none, but I feel like my aunt is going to relate to our topic soon. She is injecting insulin from now and then because she has diabetes
Yeah.
and it runs in our blood.
Oh, yeah. So what you can do, so there are stages of diabetes, so pre-diabetic, high blood sugar, pre-diabetic into diabetes. So before that happens, just remove those sugar. And it really doesn't, but it takes the mind, which we're going to talk. I think we're going to take a break, and then we're going to move into that discussion later on. Okay, we'll be right back. This is Beyond Health and Wellness Conversations with Dr. Rich.
Calling all food lovers and aspiring culinary stars. Get ready to turn your kitchen dreams into reality with the Commissary Kitchen, hosted by none other than the adobo queen herself, Nancy Reyes Lumen. From perfecting classic dishes to navigating the commissary business landscape, Nancy's got you covered. Because in her kitchen, every dish tells a story, and every recipe is an opportunity to shine. Join us every Thursday 8 p.m. CST or Friday 10 a.m. PH time, and let's cook up something extraordinary together.
Here we're back. This is Beyond Health and Wellness Conversations with Dr. Rich, and our host today is Krisha, trying to stay there and share some of her insights as well. This is a really great day for us because it's the first episode, and this first episode for season 2, and we're still talking about sugar because we just had New Year. Before New Year, we just had Christmas, and there's a lot of things going on. So I think, Krisha, you can tell that in the gym this time is full. People want to go back.
Actually, yes. When I went back last, what day is it today? It's Friday. So when I went back, yeah, last Tuesday, the whole gym was packed.
Yes,
And for someone who has social anxiety, oh, I just opted to just exercise at home.
it's true, and it's not isolated in one place, location, or country. I think it's a worldwide phenomenon that people want to go back to their regular health condition after a series of so many mess up as far as their diet and nutrition.
But that will take up a lot of will and determination.
Mhm, mhm. And then after that, by February, or probably, let's give them a little bit of lax. About April, it will fade away. Most of them fade away. So then a little bit, about 5, or sometimes we can be generous, 10% of those people will stay there until the day. So, and it reflects about the same kind of phenomenon or trend in not only in health, gym, for that, going to the gym, for example, or going to back to their exercise, but also for food and nutrition, and also for success like money, earning money, saving money, or even developing their leadership skills and sustaining what they need to do as far as their goals are concerned. So we're talking about food and sugar, but really it goes beyond that because it's really more holistic, and the same trend is the same thing that you observe everywhere else. And that is why people that are successful, if you can if you can observe that, there are only about 5 to 10% people that are successful in the world every single year for so many years before our forefathers were born. So it's not something that it's just this year or it's just last year. It's been like that. The idea is not to make that percentage bigger. It would be good to make the percentage bigger of people who are successful in things they do. It would be good, but it's really not. The idea is not to make the percentage bigger, but to join the percentage, right? You don't want to stay where you are. You want to stay where it is, and it's a lot of competition to get there. But it's not a competition that will make somebody who wants to get there lose. You're not going to lose. You're always going to win because people won't even won't even start. They won't even start. So when you start, you're already winning. Maybe you fail here and there, but who in that level, who in that status hasn't failed? There's so many of them, and I would say all of them failed, uh, but they don't look at the failures. They look at failures as opportunities to progress on. So it's really great. I'd like to share a few things. Uh, in my journey, right, in my profession, so I'd like to practice in a more conducive, more advantageous hospital or work environment for me. And what do you do? Just because I'm a doctor doesn't mean I just sit there, right? So I go ahead and find that, and I get a lot of rejections. I'm a good person, I'm a good professional, I'm a good doctor. But there are places, workplaces that just don't want me or don't like me, right? So I get those rejections, and that doesn't bother me. I just get rejected, and that's fine. I need to move on, move on, move on. I count my rejection, and until I reach 100. If I didn't get 100 or probably 99 rejections, I should be good, right? Because if I reach 99 rejections, guess what? The 100th rejection is the one that's for me. I mean, the 100th event will not be a rejection, but will be an acceptance. But you just need to keep going. But people don't keep going. Once they get rejected for the first time or second time, they just give up. So it's about not persisting.
Now that I heard that coming from you, I think I just learned my new mantra.
Yeah.
Like, keep going until you reach 100. And if you reach the 100th, then that's time for you to accept. Because personally, as a law student, of course, it is normal not normal, but there will be times that I will fail the subject. And I once that happens, I always ask myself, do you still want to continue? And I always doubt myself if I can still continue. But then it's a calling, it's what you really want. So just like what you have said, pursue it. And just like what my dad said, quote and unquote, para saan ba't makakatapos ka rin? So it's similar to what you have said,
Yeah.
that really creates an impact.
Right, right. People don't even start. So when you start, you're really in the path of winning. It's when you stop, it's when you quit that you fail. But if you're not quitting, you're still moving. You're moving, and you eventually you'll get there. That's really what our subconscious mind is looking in us, because our subconscious mind doesn't discriminate or identify what is true, what is real, or what is imagined. It just is. It just treat it the way it is. So when you put some imagination in your subconscious mind, it makes it come to pass. Like for example, you when you are a law when you are in law school, right? You're in law school, you act like you're a lawyer, a real lawyer, because that's what you want. You don't want to act later. You want to act now because that's real or you're acting it. Now, there's a lot of books that talk about acting in a profession or in real life. It's what they use in the stage or in the camera, and the Stanislavski is one of those. And I have a good one. I that was trained with Stanislavski. There was a person, I forgot, I will share when I remember, but I read her book, and it's acting in life. You act like how you want it to be, right? If we keep telling ourselves that I am fat and I sugar and I couldn't overcome this sugar addiction, then you can't, right? Because you're acting it. Whatever it is that you're acting, we heard one too many people say, "I'm so poor. We're just poor people." Yeah, you're just poor because you are what you think you are. Remember, we talked about that. It is very important if we want to overcome something, whatever it is, addiction, or we want to achieve something, being a lawyer. You want to act now. You don't want to act in the future because then it will not come. It will continue or stay to be future because you project yourself as the future, but not the future is here, now. And I talk about that when we share. How do I imagine? Go ahead.
I think the right word that you mentioned during the last season is the power of manifestation.
Yes.
When you showed us your money, like, I wanted to be a billionaire like you.
Yes. Yes. I learned that too. It's not like I just make it myself. So I have a lot of people that learn. I show you that bills of money. There's a stack of money on my desk. Now I want to count it every day because I want before I go to sleep because I want my mind to be saturated with that's all it will think, right? So I count it. That means I'm really counting it, and it's real, and it gets there. And but I learned that from Genevieve Behrend. Genevieve Behrend counted $20,000. This is 1920, so $20,000 is like how much? $400,000 now, but that was $20,000 in 1920s when she started doing that. And she wanted to study with Thomas Troward in London, and she couldn't go there because she didn't have enough money. So what she did was she counted stacks of money, and they didn't have bills before. They did have, so she made some paper money. She made it herself, put $1,000 on each one of them, or $100, whatever it was, and she counted it every night. It only took her about six to 12 days. She got the money, and she was the only student of Thomas Troward, and I learned that from her. And there are so many people that are doing that. They're just not in the podcast. No, they're not sharing it in YouTube. They're not sharing it in Facebook. But now we're sharing it so that more people can learn from it. It works, and it may not work, but it's not because the system doesn't work. It's because we didn't allow it to work for us. So that's part of that. You're right. It's a power of manifestation, power of the mind. The other one that we want to share about that is the visualization. So it's part of the visualization. And I have here the yes, that's the one. We have the stick person. Remember that I told you about there was this little boy that says, "I'm going to draw a face of God," and the older gentleman says, "You can't draw a face of God. No one sees God." And the little child says, "No one sees God, but wait until I finish the drawing." And so she drew the face of God. And it's just a little boy that's trying to capture his own imagination about that. And we're going to do the same thing with the mind. No one has sees the mind. We don't see the mind because there's no structure. It's not a physical organ in the body. The mind is actually movement. Mind is movement. It is a form of something that we want to see, but it's not seen it, but it's there. So here is the illustration of the mind, and I call this the stick person. So in our mind, so let's talk about the brain. So in neurosurgery, we really focus on the brain, right? But the brain is an organ. It is an electronic, it is sometimes referred to as the electronic switching station of the neurotransmitters in our body that senses from the five senses that we have, which, as we can see in the screen, we have the sense of seeing, hearing, smelling, tasting, and touching. All of those, they are transmitters, right? They transmit those ideas, thoughts, and feelings into the conscious mind. We can sense them. We can touch, we can taste, we can sense it. It goes into the conscious mind. The conscious mind is the part in our mind which is thinking. It thinks, so it makes decisions. So when you hear something, your conscious mind or your thought will have to decide, are you going to listen to it and accept what you hear or not? So that's the conscious mind. We're very conscious, right? You hear me talking, are you going to receive or accept what you hear from me or not? You are going to decide for that. So that's the conscious mind. The subconscious mind is the part of the mind that doesn't have the ability to reject. It only has the ability to accept what the conscious mind sends to it. For example, if the conscious mind says, well, I hear a roaster sound, and so I accept that as a roaster, right? And early in the morning. And your subconscious mind says, okay, that's a roaster, right? It goes in there, it says, okay, now it has that memory. Now, let's say I have a lot of money. Where is that part? I touch bills of money. So it's from the sense of touch. I touch a lot of money here, $1 million worth of cash money on my hands. And then your subconscious mind says, okay, there's $1 million worth of money in my hands. And it gets it out, right? The getting it out is a lot of process, but that's where it's going. It's not going anywhere else. It's going to produce it no matter what you say, because it's already there. And how does it get there? Why is it that there are things that we say but they don't get manifested? Because it didn't get into the subconscious mind, right? Because not everything that we say or think in the conscious level gets into the subconscious mind. There are blockages. This, we call that the limiting beliefs. We believe in something else and we thought that it gets into, but really what's in the conscious mind saying, you're really poor, you don't deserve that. No, did you remember your father was poor? All those kinds of things will block it from getting into the subconscious mind. So there's work to do in terms of what we want to achieve from the conscious mind, from our thoughts, into getting into the subconscious mind to get it manifested. And that is where your manifesting, your affirmation, all those kinds of things will start. The best one for this, as what we talked about, is before we sleep and after we wake up, because that is where your conscious mind is very vulnerable because it doesn't function. So we call that SATS. Remember that? It's the state akin to sleep. SATS, state akin to sleep. It is almost sleeping. You're about to sleep. That's when it's so weak to intervene. The limiting beliefs will not be able to intervene. When you start imagining, it goes into the subconscious mind. So this is the secret. If we call it the secret, this is where it is. The time of imagination or visualization or manifestation or affirmation, it gets in to the subconscious mind when you are in the state akin to sleep. When you're very sleepy and you're about to fall asleep, but you're not asleep yet, that is the state akin to sleep. You start imagining those goals, those vision, those dreams, those achievements that you want. You start there, and then you put the feelings. You feel so good about it that it's so real. I gave that exercise before. If you could remember, I asked our audience to imagine a ladder. Remember that? Imagine a ladder. What do you think about it?
I can remember the letter, but I forgot the exercise. Do you want to do the exercise now before we go on?
Well, let's review what we did before. So what I did was I told them to get a piece of paper, write down, say in the piece of paper, write it down. I don't want to try to climb a ladder. I don't want to climb a ladder. Just that one. Write it 3 times every day.
And we're back, and we're going to take a short break.
Calling all food lovers and aspiring culinary stars. Get ready to turn your kitchen dreams into reality with the Commissary Kitchen, hosted by none other than the adobo queen herself, Nancy Reyes Lumen. From perfecting classic dishes to navigating the commissary business landscape, Nancy's got you covered. Because in her kitchen, every dish tells a story, and every recipe is an opportunity to shine. Join us every Thursday 8 p.m. CST or Friday 10 a.m. PH time, and let's cook up something extraordinary together.
Tune into Legal Treats with attorney Eileen Ligote Dizon
every Friday at 7 p.m. Central Time.
Get your weekly dose of legal knowledge, especially on family matters like divorce, child custody, child support, estate planning, probate and immigration.
Engage in discussions by posting your questions, comments, greetings or shoutouts.
See you every Friday at 7 p.m. Central Time. That would be Saturday at 9 a.m. Philippines. Don't miss out.
Welcome to Season 4 of Be Bold. Why not? Get ready to make bold changes in your life with MJ Concepcion. Dive deeper into the discussions. Listen to the unstoppable voices of MJ and her guests, the legends and the rising stars. Join the celebration of talent, sports, passion, and the power of music. Tune in every Monday 7 p.m. Central, Tuesday, 8 a.m. Philippines. See you there.
In a world filled with fleeting moments, there's beauty waiting to be captured. My name is Christian, and I specialize in immortalizing your most precious memories. From elegant weddings to vibrant events and timeless portraits, I'm here to make every moment unforgettable. Let me tell your story through the lens. Contact me today.
Krisha, are we back?
And yes, we're back on the screen. So, while waiting for Dr. Rich to fix his camera, again, we are in season 2 of Beyond Health and Wellness. So, make sure to tune in every Friday, 8 p.m. CST, or Saturday, 10 a.m. Philippine time. And Dr. Rich is back.
I'm right
Looking
here.
good as
I'm
ever.
right here. Sorry about that. Sorry about that. Now they can see my background, right? Um,
Yeah.
I tried to I tried to make it as good as I could. But anyway,
And I'm alone.
Get ready for an all-new season of Pink Table Talk with Dr. Carly D. Dive into thought-provoking conversations, empowering stories, and fresh perspectives every Wednesday at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. Join the conversation because the table is set and your voice matters.
Calling all food lovers and
Tune into Legal Treats with attorney Eileen Ligote Dizon.
Every Friday at 7 p.m. Central Time.
Get your weekly dose of legal knowledge, especially on family matters like divorce, child custody, child support, estate planning, probate, and immigration.
Engage in discussions by posting your questions, comments, greetings, or shoutouts.
See you every Friday at 7 p.m. Central Time. That would be Saturday at 9 a.m. Philippines. Don't miss out.
And we're back. Hi, Dr. Rich. Oh, we're on the same place.
Yes, same background. So, yeah, I'm not sure what's going on here, Krisha, because I think it's my connection is not working very well. However, we still continue to move on. We're almost there. Do we still have time?
Yeah, we still
We
have
still have
15
time.
minutes.
Yes. So we're almost there, and we're going because this is our launching sessions, segments, three segments for this particular episode for season two. And remember, this is Empowering Conversations in Beyond Health and Wellness podcast, and we air live every what is that? Every Friday, 8 o'clock p.m. in Houston, Texas, and it's going to be 10 a.m.
Saturday.
Saturday in Manila, Cebu, Mindanao, and everywhere else. You just figure out what your time is if you're in Dubai, if you're all over the world. However, we're going to also have a replay of this in our platform, but we are live in Lawin. What is that, Krisha?
LawinStream.com.
Lawin
And
Stream.
this is produced by Lawin Media Network. You can subscribe to us, follow us in all our social media platforms, including Facebook, Twitch, and YouTube. And just in any case you missed this episode, just like what Dr. Rich has said, you can all access this in over 15 podcasts, including Amazon, Google, Apple Store, Spotify, name it. We're there.
Yes. Oh my God.
I think Dr. Rich is speaking, but there's something wrong with his microphone, so let's just wait for a bit to fix his technical difficulties.
Now.
There you go, Dr. Rich.
All right. Okay, so we'll continue with this platform. I'm sure we will improve on there, and we're still here. Can you still hear me, Krisha?
Yes, Dr. Rich.
Okay. All right. So we're talking about a lot of things that pertains to the ability of the mind to uh,
But first and foremost, Dr. Rich, during the holidays, what did you prepare or what did you eat?
even the New Year. Yes, I was in Cebu in the New Year, so we attended a New Year's Eve party. The
Oh,
countdown
wow.
party. That's what we did, and so it's lots of different food. And as you can tell, I eat a lot, right, in large quantities. So it's a lot of fun until the countdown. So there's non-stop eating until the countdown for the new year. And so it was fun for me to experience that, and I don't experience that a whole lot. But when I do, I try to enjoy as much as I can. So it's really good. How about you, Krisha?
Well, as for me personally, as I grow older, I don't think that New Year is something that exciting anymore. But of course, what I really enjoyed is the foods because it's so rare for us to actually cook that lots of food or to eat that
Yeah, yeah.
lots of food. So that's something I look forward to and really enjoy the most during the holidays.
I know, and then it's easy to forget our consciousness about the food that we eat, right? And
Admittedly, yes.
and all of that, it's fun. I wouldn't I wouldn't be so, what do you call that, cautious about like a lot of those things, because like you have to live your life. Life is short and you have to live it and enjoy as much as you can with that awareness. That's why we're only talking about, not about don't do that, don't do this, but we're talking about be mindful. It's mindfulness. When you are eating that, or you're doing that, just be mindful. It's like when you have the opportunity, or the choice to, when you're riding a bus and the bus has windows in it, that you can put your hands outside of the windows of the bus. But what will happen to your arms outside the window is not to your choice, right? You don't have that choice anymore. You relinquish that choice. So if your arms is hit by something outside the box, it's because you chose to put it outside there, right? It is a responsibility as much as it is also a sense of mindfulness. Be mindful of what you're eating. If you're eating this, so now what are you going to do? Because eventually it comes back to you. What we actually have in our lives, whether we see it around us or we experience it, is a reflection of what's going on in the inside. Right? It's nobody's fault. It's our fault, and we have to be responsible for for that. There is what we call as the ladder of personal responsibility, and the one that's at the top of it is the statement, I am responsible. That pyramid, which is the top part, is I am responsible, until you realize that you need to tell that to yourself that you are responsible, then all the other pillars will not work for you. So you'll have to accept that I am responsible. Like we have this cancer patients that, and the cancer, when you have cancer, you didn't have cancer today. We only discovered it today, but the cancer has already been there, right? Let's say we talk about, we eat chicken joy. Do you eat chicken joy, Krisha?
That's my favorite. Like,
Me too. Yesterday we just I ate 3 pieces of them. So when you eat that, okay, so why do you say it's cancer? So we're not saying that eating chicken joy is cancerous. The way it's being prepared, with the oil that is being used, what in the oil that is used for preparing the chicken joy is what makes it cancerous. And what it is the malondialdehyde, which is the one that preserves the 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 way the chicken is cooked into its golden brown status. So it's golden brown. No matter how long it is, it's going to be golden brown, and it doesn't bubble. When you cook your chicken at home, you fry it, your oil will bubble. It doesn't have the terbutaline. So the terbutaline is the ingredient they put in the oil that they reuse every single week. For weeks and weeks, they use the same oil. That's what makes it. When you eat chicken, you don't get cancer today. I didn't get cancer today because I eat chicken joy yesterday. It's a long term course. All throughout the years, for many, many times, you keep eating it. Then it accumulates in your body. Then you feel some symptoms. You go see a doctor, and doctor does the biopsy, all kinds of tests, and finally says, after all those tests, we identified that you have this kind of cancer, right? But you didn't have that kind of cancer that day. It was days and days before. It accumulated. It's called the compound effect. It's a compound. It's the same thing that happens when you have money. When you have money, a peso, 5 pesos, 10 pesos, you put them together, and every day you put the same thing. At the end of the year, you have that so much money, right? But when you invest that, it's even more when it gets to that point. But you don't get rich because you have 10 pesos today, right? It's compounding effect. It's the same thing with habits. So remember that our habits are very, very difficult to overcome or remove, because it forms the paradigm. The paradigm is a group or an accumulation of habits that we learn until we were 7 years old. So from the beginning when we were born up to 7 years old, all of those things that we learned during that time forms the paradigm when we grow up. So that is why is Krisha like that? It's because of that time that we grew up with. So this paradigm is very difficult and you keep changing it, but you keep changing it day by day. That's why you don't give up, because if you give up, that's all you get, right?
I agree. And also, when you mentioned earlier about, like, if I were to rephrase the words, it's like a stepping stone. So every day you just keep on trying. So if I were to, give my insight on that, actually, what I really learned about season one is what I really appreciate is that you allowed us or you taught us that even the smallest thing or improvement is a process to be a better person, or manifesting is a process on achieving what you wanted in the future.
Yes, yes, yes.
So
In
it
fact,
doesn't. Mhm.
go ahead.
So the power of manifesting or your will actually, yeah, determines the future. So even if you just started manifesting today, like, oh, I want to be rich, so that kind of thought is an improvement in itself, because it's not every day that you get to think of it. So the next day, if you still think about it and you put some action on it, for example, you have an allowance of 500 pesos
Yeah,
and you only spend 100 pesos, so you already save up 400. So that's already a process, and it's a continuous process until you eventually reach that manifestation that you had.
yeah, yeah. And you have to sustain it. That's where persistence comes in.
Exactly.
Persistence is a very important factor in this, because not a lot of people. That is why I said 5 to 10%, and I'm being generous for people who succeed, because along the way people quit because it's very hard, it's very difficult, and with the surroundings that we're in, with the temptations and all kinds of challenges that comes in life, it will make you quit if you don't have the ability or the understanding of the value of persistence. That's why you have to persist. I have a friend, um, I give him money, and after a few, I will save this money, and he saved the money for about a month or two. After that, that money got lost. So I have a group of people. I gave them 1,000 pesos each, like 30 of them. So 1,000 pesos each of them get. I didn't tell them anything, just give it to them. After a month, I gathered every single one of them and asked them what they did with the money. They spent it. None of them kept the 1,000 pesos because they didn't earn it. They just sit there and receive 1,000 pesos. So none of them kept it the way it is. And so I did it again for another group without knowing this completely different group, and two of them um, had the 1,000 pesos. One of the two had 1,300 pesos, and the other one has 1,000 pesos. All the rest, no more. The 1,000 pesos is gone. So I asked the person, "What did you do with 1,000 pesos? Then you have 1,300." She said she bought something and she sold it, and it got him 1,300 pesos. So it increased by 300. The other one, no, it's just 1,000 pesos. So there's two, right? Two of them kept it. So it's very difficult because it's just 1,000 pesos, and you'd see different, you can spend it with one piece of chicken joy, probably, and ice cream and water, Coca-Cola, which is sugar, all those kinds of things, and then it's gone, right? Because they never had that value of persistence about what it is that you have. You can use it. Remember, Moses did the same thing, right? He was only being asked, "What do you have?" And he has the staff, and then use it. Use what you have in order to get there. But you have to persist and be patient with it. And I also talk about the carrots, right? The carrots, when you plant the carrots, there's a little tiny seed of carrot. You plant it, There is like how long will it take before you harvest a carrot? It's not the following day. And you don't pluck out the carrot seedling to check on the carrots if it's time. There is a gestation period. Every single thing that we want to achieve in life has a gestation period. So you want to be a lawyer, 4 years of law school, right? You want to be a doctor, 8 years of med school. You want to be this, you want to be a millionaire. What does a millionaire take to get 1 million pesos or $1 million? So that's the amount of time that you will have to invest. And if you stop and it's not time yet, you aborted it, right? It's an abortion. You want a baby 9 months inside the womb, right? It's not something that's negotiable. It's there and it's a law.
The unspoken law or the
Yeah.
unseen law.
Yes, yes. Do we have time, Krisha? I can't see my watch.
None.
Done. All
It's
right.
already 1 hour and 1 minute.
So we are going to say goodbye to our audience and our listeners today. Thank you for being with us and for being patient. And Happy New Year to everyone. Please send us your comments, your questions, anything, maybe pictures or something that you would share. And if you have questions, we will take them in our podcast and we will share with them. But this has been episode
One of
one of
season two.
season two for Beyond Health and Wellness Empowering Conversations with Dr. Rich. And of course, with our guest today, Krisha May. And very nice to have you today, Krisha. We'll see you again next time. Have a great day. Have a great new year. And to you too, Krisha.
Bye, Dr. Rich. Have a
Bye
good
bye.
morning. All
Bye
right,
bye.
bye.